It's not working.
We're live now.
Oh, cool. Hey. Hi, everyone.
All right. Are you ready to do your intro? Because I'm going to start this
Let's do it.
music. Okay. Hey, you know what else I should have started?
What?
Recording the audio.
Welcome to episode 41.
Hey, we're still learning. That's all right.
Something will change.
Hey, this is the second live show, so it's a little bit different. I'm going to start recording now, and then I'll start the music again.
Let's do that over again.
All right. Sorry. Take two.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode 41 of the Podcast of Nonsensical Gamers. My name is Matt, and joining me on the show today are my two stupendously live co-hosts, Miss Tiffany B.
Hello.
And Dan.
Ladies.
Thank you all for joining us for our live show in March, episode 41. If you ever want to reach out to us, you can do so by finding us on Facebook at the League of Nonsensical Gamers. You can shoot us an email at podcast@nonsensicalgamers.com. Join us on the BGG Guild number 2077. Check us out on YouTube, as you may be doing right now, or find us on places like Twitter and Instagram. Today's show, number 41, as we said, we've got a good lineup. We are going to do a filler feature, including two games, Panda Head, a trick-taking game, and Hocus, a poker-style game. And then we're going to do some 3-up, 3-down, an awesome segment where we talk about what is up in our gaming lives and what is down in our gaming lives. But before we get into any of that, we are going to do a little bit about what we've been playing. And I'm gonna give Tiff a pass on going first this time because I know she's nervous. So Dan, what have you been playing?
Not too much lately. I've had a chance to play some smaller games, but I did get to play one big game recently. I got in a game of Sid Meier's Civilization, the board game. So this is the board game version of the famous video game series. And this was a 4-player game. I was the Spanish, which was kind of cool. And, well, for those who don't know, this is a 4X game, so I won't get into too much, but there's a tech tree, there's a board, you explore it, and you fight each other. So that's the game. So I was the Spanish. I started on this little peninsula, like in the bottom left corner, surrounded by water and not too many resources. But I had this really cool power that when I explored tiles, I got to like build buildings that I couldn't already build, which was neat. And yeah, so I actually won, which was really cool because I wasn't expecting to. I went with the economic victory. We played this game with the Fame and Fortune, I think is the expansion, the second expansion, which makes, in my opinion, it makes the economic victory a lot more viable. And I think we saw that because two of us were actually going for the economic victory, which is gather 15 coins in your empire. And I won with 15, but the guy that was the turn in front of me got to 14 on the same turn I got to 15. So two people, like, you know, relatively competitive in the one strategy. For those, again, who don't know, in Civilization there's four win conditions, 3 win conditions. So you could do an outright military where you defeat another person's capital. You could do a culture victory, whereas there's this culture track where you go all the way up the culture track, which is, for me, it seems really daunting to get that. But, you know, I guess if you're focusing on it and comboing correctly, you could do that. And then the economic victory. I think those are the only 3, but I may be mistaken. Those are the only 3 I knew about to go for. So if there was a 4th one, I did not go that path at all. So yeah, it was good. That's a long game, so this is like one that is going to take up your entire night more than likely. This one ran us again. This had two new players, so it ran us. I want to say upwards of 6 hours to play, with a break. But it was good. So like I said, a full 4-player game, new players, and once you got into the flow of it, it's pretty cool. But my one gripe with Civilization, and for the record, I like Civilization better than Clash of Cultures. I know those are the two big kind of civ building 4X games that people kind of often debate. But for me, like the Civ game is bogged down by the tech tree. While it's way more advanced and interesting than the Clash of Cultures one, in my opinion, it's just stacks of cards, and you're constantly looking through these stacks of cards trying to look for the technology you want, and then you forget which technology you were going to build by the time it's time to build it. What I really loved about Clash of Cultures is the tech board that you have, where you're just putting the cubes in your tech tree, and you can kind of see how your civilization is lined up and where you can go and what you could do next, and it's a lot more visually appealing to me than the Civ game. While I think Civ is the better game, because I don't really care for Clash of Cultures, it's a bit too random and annoying at times. I find Civ, the tech tree really is one thing that really just bogs the game down, in my opinion. But overall, I love the game. I was happy to get it in. This is one I probably won't get in for another 6 months to a year, if at all. But I was happy to play it, and I was happy to win it. So, Viva la Spain!
Do you, when you pick your people, I've only played Civ once and I can't remember, it was so long ago. Do you get assigned a starting territory? Were you forced to start on a peninsula?
I was. So each starting civilization has a starting tile, and then when you flip that tile, you can start anywhere on that tile. Okay. FFG, the publisher, recommends a starting space for every civilization tile, but you can do it as you see fit. The reason I started on a peninsula, I think, was because my starting tech was navigation, so I could move over that water.
That's what I was wondering.
It really restricted me in terms of starting resources, though, so I had to get out, get my scouts onto different tiles so that I could set up that second city relatively quickly and get some additional resources.
Yeah, and Civilization really, I mean, the base game really favors the military, right? I just remember it being, maybe that's because we were playing with Smee, but I remember it focusing heavily on the combat.
Yeah, I can't, to be honest, I can't remember just base game Civ now, because the expansions, I think, are, in my opinion, they're must-have at this point. The third expansion, I haven't played with, well, at least the second expansion. I haven't played with the first expansion. I haven't played with the second expansion, which actually changes the military and how it's actually played. Because one thing I really like about Civ is the actual military battles, because they're more strategic, and it's not just dice rolling. You're actually playing cards to different fronts and confronting the enemy head on, or not so much. You could just kind of play like the sly strength in numbers kind of game, but it's much better, in my opinion, than those random dice rolling games. So
cool. Yeah, I like Clash of Cultures, or Clash of Cultures, I should say. But I do agree that, I mean, I think that game is primarily a tech tree kind of game. Like, it doesn't have that super robust combat. It's got some of this like civilization building, because they really like to highlight the expansion of your towns and things like that. But there's all those random events. I remember us running into problems with that. But I like that tech tree, like you said, better than Civ, which is surprising because Civ is based off a video game. I mean, do you think that they would have?
I like the tech tree. I like the tech tree layout better. I'll clarify that. I think the layout is better. The actual tech tree, the substance of the tech tree, is much more robust in Civ, in my opinion. I haven't played the Clash of Cultures expansion to see what that does, but my biggest problem with Clash of Cultures was the way you scored like points towards victory was through drawing those kind of objective cards, and a lot of times those objective cards had nothing to do with kind of the setup of your civilization. And so you were stuck with this hand of useless objective cards unless you completely 180'd, halfway through the game, which is not viable most of the time. So I just like Civ because it's a little more to the point. You know what you're going for. You know how you can get there. Everything is available to you. It's just a matter of getting there.
Yeah.
Whereas Clash of Cultures, it was, oh, I drew 2 objective cards. I can only complete 1, so I'm only going to get 1 point this round, or whatever it was. And that really irritates me about that game.
Yeah. Well, hey Tiff, when you were on your Civ game spree before you switched over to Wild West, was Civilization on the docket?
No, my thing with Civilization games is I'm always looking for a Civilization game that doesn't take 6 hours, so that naturally eliminates this one from the running. So all the ones that I was looking at are like trying to compact that Civ feel into something more like 2 hours. So not interested ever in a 6-hour game of anything, no matter what, even if it's Wild West.
Yeah, it's fair. All right. Well, one of the games that I've gotten to play, and Dan got to play as well, was Mule. So speaking of economic games, this is a pure economic game based off, I don't know, what system was this video game on, Dan?
What's that? Mule? Mule was like old school PC, like before you were born PC.
Yeah, well, yeah. So this is a game about, it's basically a production game, buying and selling, market manipulation kind of stuff, where you have a player board full of these land plots. You're going to be drafting land plots. You can set what they produce. They produce by seeding them with workers, and workers in this game are robotic mules. It's like this weird 80s sci-fi kitschy thing. So there's these robotic mules, and you have to power them, and when you power them, they produce you different kinds of goods. And then basically most money wins at the end of the game, so you're trying to buy and sell strategically these different goods. I like this game from an economic standpoint. I think that the market manipulation and things like that are fun. We ran into some big problems with these random event cards. At the end of every round, you draw a card. You draw a good event and a bad event. The good event helps either the third or fourth place person, whoever's behind. And the bad event hurts the first or second place person. And then there's this third event where it dictates the value of this precious gem resource, the purple resource, crystite, and then it also has some kind of random event on top of it. So you got 3 events that are potentially happening. And the random event for the purple cards is upwards of like steal all of your resources, or like the market burns down and the market loses all of its resources. So we found that while the economic portion of the game, you know, that buying and selling is really great, and it's got some nice player interaction where you can buy and sell off of other people, and we finally figured out like predictability in the market, and then these cards totally ruined it. And it was too much of a wrench. I'm okay with some randomness, but in this game where like I've stockpiled and invested in crystite all game, and now all of a sudden the pirates come and steal all of it, including this turn's production, like I don't know, it's crazy. So, and I know Dan probably feels the same way about those cards.
Yeah, those cards suck. like things that suck a lot. Like that's what those cards are. Yeah, the game itself, as you mentioned, the economic portion of the game is really clever and a lot of fun to kind of math about, you know, and all that good stuff. The theme is quirky and I like it. I never played the game when I was, you know, younger, when it was first out, but I did play there's an online simulator of the game that you can go and play, and I've played that. And the game is, the thing with the randomness in the game, the board game, is very true to the randomness that comes about in the video game. So I understand why they did it, but it is frustrating beyond belief. There are, as Matt said, in our first game we played, Matt and I were going heavy into this one resource called crystite. This is the purple discs. And there was this card called The Pirates Invade, and it flipped out, and it stole all of our crystite that Matt and I had been holding to sell, you know, like a proper investor at a higher rate than we bought it and or mined it at. And that card literally took all of our crystite. And we calculated at the end of the game, Matt and I got trounced in that game, obviously, because of that event. Just that one event card caused... It was, in my instance, and I think it was somewhat similar in Matt's instance, it was an 80-point swing in a game that was scored like 200 to like 160 to like 120 to like 100. It was an 80-point swing, and that for me is just too much. That's ridiculous. The other thing about that game that I don't like, but you can play without it, which is good, is at the end of each turn there's this deck of cards called the Good Luck and Bad Luck cards. And you basically draw one. Whoever's in first draws a Good Luck card, and then they read it, and it usually has something like gain X money for something. And they can give that to anyone at the table. Now you're supposed to, in quote, in theory, give it to the last place player because they're the least harmful to you at that point. But you could give it to the second place or third place if you cut a deal for some reason.
If you're Ben.
Yeah, if you want to break the game. And then the person in last place draws this bad luck card, and this bad luck card is lose money for something or something. And in theory, again, this guy's supposed to give it to the first place player. But there's all of this kind of like, I don't know, it was just so frustrating because that was at one point the second play we had, that the guy who was in last place was only in last place by $1. $1. And this isn't a game where our final scores were in the $300 to $400. He was in last place by $1. And this good luck card gave him, I think he netted when he converted the resources and the money he got, he netted like $60 off of just being handed this card.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. These cards drove me nuts. But again, very true to the theme, very true to the original kind of video game. But
that's not necessarily a good thing.
It's not. But it's got some really redeeming factors. And there are another interesting thing. There's about, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, there's about 20 variants in the back of the book. Part of me is like, hey guys, maybe you should have tested these more and put the best ones in the game. And the other part of me is like, I understand they've kind of given you the ability to customize the game. So it's like I'm torn on that either way. But there are variants that eliminate those random card draws and things like that, which I think is how we are going to play from now on, because the second game we were like, we'll try it, see if it hurts us again. And we got a better, like Matt said, we got a better grasp of the game overall. But those cards, man, they just boned us beyond belief.
I don't understand if that's like a balancing mechanism, like it's supposed to be. Why not just make it give the good luck card to the person and mandate that?
It puts too much faith in the players. I mean, you can't trust our group to do the right thing. So with the first game we played, like Dan said, like Ben would draw the good luck card and be like, all right, second player, you can have it. I'm like, but he's already ahead of everything. And then we'd give the bad luck card to just whoever. Smee's like, screw you, Matt, because we butt heads in every game. And then the second game we played where it was that deterministic, whoever is in this place gets this card. And I think the third game, if we play it a third time, we're just going to get rid of the cards altogether. I don't think they're worthwhile enough just to be true to the video game.
Right. I think that's the thing, right? Like, you don't have the nostalgia for the video game, so you don't really want that randomness. And this is based on a game from the 80s, and game design has changed so much since then.
Like, imagine a hardcore exploration game called Oregon Trail, where at the end of every turn, you flip a card, and you might just die.
Dysentery.
Like, the games have gone so much, especially like heavier games, towards luckless that it's probably a shock to have that much randomness.
I don't mind an event deck in games. I don't mind that as much. I don't want it if it doesn't have to be in there, but I don't mind an event deck. There's second cards where it's like, hand this to the last player. Those are what really frustrated me.
Yeah.
I think if Matt and I had looked through the cards and seeing that pirate card and knowing that could come up, because you don't know what's going to come up. There's like 30 cards and you only pick 6 of them. So there's a good chance you might not get that pirate card, but we didn't look through the cards before we played.
Yeah.
And so I understand, if we were kind of mitigating our thought process against that card being in the deck, maybe, but even so, it was such a huge swing that I would have never wanted to see it come up regardless.
Yeah. But it sounds like we can push it if we want to a more like luckless economic game. It might be a lot drier, but I think, I don't know, it's just, I don't know.
We'll suck the soul out of it.
Yeah, and they allow us to with their 30 variants. So
yes, it'll become so good then.
We'll try soul-sucking variant number 7.
Yes. We shall mine resources with our horses.
All right, so Tiff.
Mm-hmm.
Not playing many games in real life, right?
No. If anyone's been listening for the show for a while, you know that when I start to have concerts, I just stop playing games because it's just like a lot of after-school commitment to get that done. And this month, concerts and parent-teacher conferences happened at the same time. So, and some open houses for incoming sixth graders and lots of school stuff. So, I have had to cancel any kind of game nights that have been happening, and on Monday when I normally have my board game club, I had to drive my dad somewhere because he's partially blind and I'm a good daughter. So I gave up games for all the right reasons, for the kids and my blind dad. But I've been playing...
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that.
No, it's fine.
For the
laugh
kids
at
and my blind dad.
I love them both. So
When's your Lifetime movie come out?
Oh yeah, it's a real struggle. I've had to give up all these board games for a week or two.
Orchestra teacher finds love while caring for blind father.
Actually sounds really good, so yeah.
It's made for Hallmark, for sure.
I need to
it could be
pitch
played
that.
by the chick from Full House, and your love interest could be that guy Cody from Step by Step. Because I think everyone that was on TGI Fridays in the 90s is on Hallmark now.
I didn't watch
Pretty
TGI
sure.
Fridays.
Tiff.
What?
I was too cool for that.
Starring Sean from Boy Meets World.
So yeah, I've been playing a lot of apps, but no actual cardboard games. I'm gonna play games today though. I promise.
So what apps have you been playing? Anything good?
Patchwork a lot, and I kicked it old school, and I've been playing a ton of Carcassonne because one of my buddies that I don't get to see anymore is like just randomly texted me and was like, "Hey, let's play Carcassonne." I'm like, "Yes." So I've been playing that, and a little bit of Stone Age, which I'll never turn down a game of Stone Age. So.
Yeah, have you seen the Stone Age Junior? I think everyone has. It's so cute.
I can't wait to get that.
It's super cute, and I have no reason to own it, but I'm like tempted to. I don't know why.
Board Game Club is gonna love that game.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Side note: before we move to Dan's next game, this chat is amazing. Go over to YouTube and listen to the chat. Dan, what else have you been playing?
I played a seizure-inducing game called Metro.
Oh man.
This is basically Sura of the Seas on steroids. It's a tile-laying game where you're building like these routes. It's set in Paris, if you want some theme.
This game does not have theme.
This thing drips theme.
The theme of this game is lines, curvy lines.
Yeah, well, those curvy lines have subways that traverse them.
It has theme in the way that Carcassonne has theme.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
about.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead. Those farmers lay down, and I'm like, that's exactly what a farmer would do. Yeah. But so Metro, so you're trying to connect paths to get your little subway cars to another station, and you score points for each tile that this path that you've created touches. So the game is, I like it better than Sura. I'll come out and say that right now. Sura for me is a bit too basic. While I like it in theory, it just doesn't ever lead to anything truly exciting, at least in the plays I've had. But Metro was a good laugh because you can place tiles, and in front of anyone. So you just have to place a tile. You get one tile in your hand, then you place it on the board adjacent to any of the outer stations or another tile that's already placed. And so what you can do is you can basically just bone your friends the whole game, which is awesome. Each person gets, depending on the player count, gets anywhere from I think 6 to 10 subway cars that they're going to be scoring. So each subway car will score once. And it was so funny because in the one game, it was just hilarious because if you started on a corner, somebody could just play an arch piece and their cart would go into the next station, and they'd score 1 point, and they'd be like, "Wait, what? Huh?" And they'd get really pissed, and we'd all just laugh at them, which was awesome. We did that to Smee constantly because this was so not a game for Smee, and we just wanted to make him know that this was not a game for Smee, which was probably the best part about playing the game. But yeah, so you're just so you're trying to make long paths, but again, depending on what you draw, tiles, at least in the basic game, tiles can only be placed in one direction, and they're marked which direction they can face when you place them. So you're really restricted. Like early in the game, you're setting them up. You don't really know what's going to happen. You kind of have a basic idea. But as the game progresses, there's one tile for each space on the board, and you'll fill them all. So once the board gets a little more populated, these paths start to get a little more interesting, and you can start to really kind of screw with your neighbors or kind of set yourself. There's certain tiles you're like, ooh, I want the straight piece because that means I'm not going to get looped back on right away. At least I'll go 2 spaces, kind of thing. So you're trying to maximize your path the best you can. And I don't know, I picked it up at a con flea market for $10. So I was like, you know what? It was Spielzar's recommended in like 1997. Let's see what this is all about. And I liked it. I don't know that it'll stick around in my collection, but again, I liked it more than Suro, and I like tile placement, and this was just a good time. Like, we laughed about it. I've played it a couple times now, and it's always been funny. That's Metro.
Metro feels like a novelty a little bit, just because it's kind of goofy and old. I like Sorrow of the Seas. Regular Sorrow, I agree, Metro's better, but Sorrow of the Seas specifically with the dragons and moving around, I think that's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more player interaction. This game was just super weird when we played it, that first game, because, like you said, we couldn't get really long paths, and we ruined Smee. Oh, well, 4 of your trains are worth 1 point, so congrats. And there's the potential to just, take someone out of the game, which is kind of crazy. And then I won on some back-assward move at the end of the game. I was in last place, and the last tile had to be placed, and it just so happened that I looped 30 points. We all just sat there counting together, and just the totals added up. It was kind of crazy. So I thought it was fun. I agree that I don't know how long we're going to be playing this game. Maybe it's a good one to break out with the family, but I don't know. It was just kind of goofy. I had a good time though. That's Metro. Tiff might like it. I don't know.
I looked at it before, and I haven't bought it. So, and after hearing your guys' description, I'm kind of glad.
Your kids would probably like it.
Yeah, my kids have a thing for Suro. So
if you can find it for $10, Dan got it for a good price. I wouldn't pay any real money for this stuff.
I think on BGG it goes for $25-30 right now, and I was like, $10, whatever. I just have that in my pocket at the moment.
If you have a spare gift card somewhere, maybe.
Dan, he just has $10, $20, $100. It doesn't matter. He's a baller.
Dan
I never have cash. Dan's a baller.
Well,
so
I'm not buying it, even for $10.
I got to play another game. I got to play a new game last night with Smee and Steve, and this was Porta Nigra. Have either of you guys played this yet?
Nope. I've heard.
Oh, sorry. Dan, have you played this yet?
No, I just said I've heard mixed things on it, so I've been hesitant, but I like to hear what you guys say.
Yeah. Well, I just assume it was unfair of me to assume that Tiff would have played a game.
Yeah, not cool.
I had this on pre-order actually and I canceled it because it's really expensive.
Yeah.
How much?
So,
it's like $70 retail.
Let me touch on that. So, Porta Nigra is a game. Who are the designers, Dan? You love these guys, right?
Kramer and Kiesling. The guy. If you ever look at Kramer's picture on BGG, he's sitting like this. He's like, it's the funniest thing ever. Look up Wolfgang Kramer's picture.
I'm gonna do it right now.
If I had the box for Adventureland, I'd show you because it's on the side of it. Haba put it. Yeah. He's just looking like this. He looks like he's just He's like, I don't know. It's not the type of picture you want on a kid's game because the only thing that would be worse if he had a bowl of Werther's Originals in front of him. He's like,
Happy
it's
Halloween,
really creepy.
Everyone. Yeah, Tiff, maybe you should screen share when you find that lovely picture.
That's what I plan to do.
So in the meantime, before that comes through, Porta Nigra is from Stronghold Games. It's a new release from Kramer Kiesling, and it's a game about building up. Where is this? Where is this set?
Like Rome or Greece?
Rome. Let's say Rome, because I don't know my ancient civilizations right now. You're trying to build up.
It's the gates of Rome, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a wall, and there's the Porta Nigra, which is the Black Gate. There's like the Colosseum Amphitheater, and there's some other type of building. Essentially, it's more of like an abstract-y Euro-style game. It's got some theme, though, I guess. You know, it's fair. But what you're trying to do is you're buying and selling, not buying and selling, you're buying and placing bricks. And these bricks are these little plastic towers, and they stack upon each other. And there's 4 different colors. There's blue, red, black, and yellow. And then there's white, which is a wild. So you got 5 types of bricks, and you've got a little player board where you sort them out when you buy them. They have increasing cost from black is $1, and then white, the wilds, are $5. And the way that you do this is with a hand of 2 cards and like this action selection kind of mechanic. So you're going to pick a card and play it out for your turn, and you get 2 or 3 actions, depending on the card. And what you do is you take 2 or 3 actions from that card. There's upwards of 5 potential actions on the card that you choose. And those actions vary from buying bricks, building buildings, gaining scrolls, which allow you, they're a different kind of currency, and gaining money. So with these actions, you're going around a circle. It's not really a rondel. You're just kind of moving between these 4 quadrants of the board, buying the certain color bricks that you need. And then when you have the buildings that you need, you're building them out in these different areas. When you build a building, you, depending on the space that you build it on, there's potentially a required size. So 2 yellow bricks, or 1 blue brick, or 3 red bricks, something like that. And when you build those, you get some immediate points. And potentially, if you've met a certain requirement, you can gather these end game set collection cards. And those have value at the end, depending on how many you've collected. The real big part of this game, though, is that there's a huge end game scoring component. The game will end after 2 rounds. Each round is 1 cycle through your 10-card deck. I don't remember exactly how many cards, but you play these cards and cycle through, so you get about 20 turns in the game. And at the end, there's 4 different sets of area majority. Oh no, that's not him.
No,
Is this the thing? No?
that's not it. But that one's pretty good as well.
All right.
I'll go on the lookout
this?
for it.
Hey, I like that one.
These are the
good.
2 creepiest ones I could find.
Oh no, you haven't seen this one then.
Oh.
He looks like a magical game wizard where he floats his games around himself. He's like,
Right, that's very cool. All right. Keep searching.
okay.
Oh, I've got it. How do I screen share?
There should be a green thingy over
What's
on...
Tiff doing on her BGG page?
Oh, right. I'll
Let's
stop
see.
doing
Oh,
that.
here we go, guys.
The anticipation is killing me.
I know. I really want to see this.
Sorry.
It better be good, Dan.
Oh, trust me.
Because those other pictures were pretty bad. So, ooh.
Look at that.
That's a little bit older picture.
That is a
That's on
fantastic-
the side of the Haba box from the recent game.
Wow.
I think it's recent.
Adventureland, an exciting strategy game from this guy.
Certainly there's got to be someone willing to take a new portrait of Wolfgang Kramer where he looks a little bit more
Maybe he likes it.
less friendly.
I don't know, but I'm just going to
The
do a whole
only thing
podcast like this.
The only thing that portrait is missing is the little another picture of him from the 80s, the little floating head pictures. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Dan might.
Yes.
Matt probably doesn't because he's
Yeah.
a youngster.
I am a child.
Yeah, that's what I want that picture to be.
Oh my. Dan, now
Okay.
you don't have any video.
Oh, what happened?
Turn your camera back on.
It is on.
Okay. No, it's
He's
fine.
too
I
busy
can
looking
see
at
him.
Pictures of Kramer and Kiesling.
That's what Dan does in his free time.
All right. So anyway, Porta Nigra. Super. Oh my God, he's still standing like that. Super easy. Kind of this action selection thing, but end of game scoring, huge area majorities that you need to pay attention to. You gotta know what's going on with these area majorities at the end because they're worth, 30, 40, 50 points at the end, depending on how well you do. And Steve sadly neglected. Well, he thought he understood them, and he didn't, and that hurt him. But moving on from that, that's kind of the game explanation. I really enjoyed the game itself, and I was worried because I heard some mixed reviews about how fiddly it was with maintaining this collection of bricks in the middle. Always needs to have a certain number, and you kind of pause the game if it ever dips below 7, and you refill the market. I heard some different things about the end game scoring where it can be make or break, but I guess having that knowledge, I paid attention to the end game scoring. But overall, I thought that it was super simple, very Wolfgang Kramer Kiesling, I should say. I got his picture in my mind. That's why I'm just thinking about him. But overall, I thought it was a great game. That's like medium weight Euro, goes pretty quick. Picked it up once you play like one turn. You're like, oh, I get this game. The decision from there is just where do you go? How do you compete? What do you build? But as the game goes on, your options become more and more limited, and it becomes more about maximizing the potential of each move. So it actually gets easier as you go because it's you kind of hone in on certain areas. So I really liked it. Would I pay full price for it? Probably not, because it is so expensive. But I thought it was a good medium weight Euro game. I think that you would like it, Dan. Tiff, you probably like it too. It's not like a board game club game, but
No, I read a lot about it because it was the talk of some kind of town, and it seems like it would be nice and familiar and pleasant to play, but that price tag is a killer.
It really is. Is he still sitting like that?
I think he might be frozen.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Haha. That was performance art.
Oh.
That was performance art.
That's dedication, man.
Wow, Dan.
Was the Kramer mime.
But yeah, so the deal is like I think that this is a really great Euro game. I think that it's approachable and it's easy to jump into. It's too expensive though, and I don't know how much longevity you would get because other than the cards, like the bonus cards that you can get, the variability isn't that high. So it would probably get a little min-maxy as you go because most of your action cards are pretty similar. There's not too much variation in them. So like 10 games in, particularly someone like Dan would probably be done with it.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How does this compare at all to Palaces of Carrera?
I have not played Palaces of Carrera, but Palaces of Carrera is kind of like Vikings, and I played Vikings. So I don't know.
Because they're buildings. They're different buildings in different locations and different colors.
I would say that it feels familiar to their other titles that I've seen and played. Because I know a bit about their titles. I mean, not Adventureland, but in terms of these like strict building, gathering, kind of circular board kind of things, there's a couple of games that I've seen from them that build in a similar way. But
Gotcha.
I do think that it was unique enough to separate itself from those other games. Is it better than them? I don't know. So if you only want one of these style of games, you might want to try them before you just kind of jump into Porto Negro. But I'd say if this goes on sale, if you can get it for like $40, it's probably worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. Is Dan stuck? I mean,
No, I'm here.
You had this on pre-order. What made you cancel?
If I'm being honest, because Stronghold Games will be 50% off in 3 months, so I'm not going to pay $60-$70 for it.
This one didn't feel too like choosing my words carefully here. It didn't feel that chintzy, I should say. Like when you played Panamax and you're like, this Panamax money is terrible. This has great components. I like the plastic little buildings.
Well, it's I think it was a Pegasus spiel to begin with. So when he brings them over, they're typically good.
Yeah.
And again, I like all of the games he's put out. I find that I don't know if it's something with how he does his ordering or whatever, but it just seems like they go on sale so quickly. They get really hyped up, and everyone's like, "Whoa, cool!" And then like the initial wave of people buy them, and then they go on sale. So I've started holding off, and I got burned on my last pre-order of Medina with him. he always promises when you get them that you'll have like 3 weeks ahead of time before it goes to the store. And I think I got my Medina the same day it hit retail, which that really annoyed me because I was like, I didn't need to pay you $15 shipping and $50 6 months ago. I could have just waited for today. So all in all, I think pre-ordering in board games is silly, especially now, because the big boys all are going to get their distribution models in order. And I think we had this conversation with Ben yesterday on our Slack convo. Like, he was talking about Dead of Winter. The pre-order is now much more expensive to ship, and that either has to do with it coming from Canada now or further away in Texas or whatever. But the thing is, with Plaid Hat, for instance, them being under the F2Z umbrella, F2Z can distribute greater numbers than what Plaid Hat was doing when they first originally came out with Dead of Winter. So I told him, I was like, I don't understand why you need to pre-order. You can get the promo at Origins, and you can get the rest at either the local shop, or you can get it on Cool Stuff in like a week.
Yeah, to be fair, I ordered Stronghold 2nd Edition before the holiday. They had a deal where Stephen Monacore tweeted out, like, if you order it, you'll get the discounted price, and you'll get it before like the holidays, which Stronghold only came out like a month or so ago in retail, and I did get it on time. Like, he held his end of the bargain on that one, so I haven't had the same experience as you, but I know that you warned me because I was going to order some of these games, and you're like, just don't. It's not worth it. These pre-orders aren't worth it anymore because you can get the discounted price or better somewhere else, and like you said, all the promos are available. I don't know. Is there value to supporting the company in that way directly, though? I don't know. That would be my thought.
I think if you really super believe in the game, but if you're on the fence about it, I mean, I've been burned a couple of times pre-ordering stuff. Yeah. It's mostly not worth it, but if you are really super passionate about a particular game, it's probably worth it to support the publisher.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather put, and as much as I'm not in a Kickstarter mood, I'd almost rather put money I would spend on a big publisher's pre-order into a Kickstarter where someone else could use the money more. If I'm going to be waiting 6 months regardless, I'd rather put it into a more of a passion project than this giant company that doesn't really need that all that much. But
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, any other games that anybody wants to talk about, or shall we move on to our next segment?
We can move on.
All right, Tiff. You got a bumper music for me, Tiff?
I do.
Awesome.
Let's try this one.
That is live recorded by Tiff.
Yeah, I just performed that with my mind.
All right, everyone. So we are back, and we are going to jump into our first segment today, and it is Filler Feature. We got a couple of games to talk about. I have a couple of games to talk about that I've been carrying around in my game bag. Tiny games that are a lot of fun. And the first one up is called Panda Head. And Panda Head is from R&R Games and designers Aaron Weisblum, or Weisblum. Dan, do you have a German accent that you can do?
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it. That's all he's got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and Norman Woods. This is a 2 to 5 player trick-taking game, and it looks a little something like this. Panda Head. Ooh.
What a terrible name.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and just dive right into how we're feeling about it. The cards look like this. They're fantastic. They have pandas. These are pandas, giant panda heads. They are pandas wearing human costumes, not humans wearing panda heads, in case you didn't know.
I get the title. I understand that it works. Like, those are heads of pandas on human bodies. But
No. They're pandas wearing human costumes.
Costumes, okay. But really, we couldn't come up with something
adorable?
better? They are adorable.
Like, you can just, like, he just, like, pops out of nowhere.
It's kind of like, if you look at it long enough, it's a little horrifying.
Yeah, it's a little terrifying.
Like, I wouldn't want to wake up to seeing that picture. Like, just slowly moving toward me. Okay.
I'd rather wake up to a real panda than the aggressively cartoon happy panda. But anyway, so Panda Head. trick-taking game. And Dan, I played Five Cucumbers once. Dan said that it's pretty reminiscent of that. I think I'd agree with that. Tiff, have you played Five Cucumbers?
You mean Fünfgurken?
Fünfgurken?
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that game.
You're a fan of the Fünfgurken. So apparently, this has similarities. In this game, you have rounds, which are 7 cards apiece. So everyone gets 7 cards, and you're going to play 7 tricks in a row. The first 6 tricks don't matter, but you're trying to engineer your hand in a certain way. On the 7th trick, whoever takes the trick, which is highest card played that round, will take the trick and score as many points as that card that they played. And points are bad in this game. When you follow a trick, you play equal to or higher than. If you can't follow, you have to play your lowest card. So low cards are good for that 7th trick because you're less likely to take the points. So you're trying to engineer your hand and work out through the first 6 tricks so that you're not taking that 7th trick. When you take points, if you get to 21 points, you become a drowsy panda and you start to fall asleep. And then you decrease your score to the next highest score available, the person in second place of losing. And then you keep playing, and if you hit 21 a second time, then you're a sleepy panda and you're out of the game. And it's last person standing. So what I like about this game is that unique trick-taking aspect. So you're looking at your hand, and the way that you evaluate your hand is, how does it get me to the 7th trick? And some of the cards in between don't always matter, so you have some flexibility in terms of, when do I play certain things? You can recover from some bad plays or from mistakes. But when you get down to like your last 3 cards, you have to be super mindful of, what you're playing, how you're playing it. So it toes the balance between paying attention and just kind of being a light filler card game, and I like that. It's got a little bit of thought to it, but it's not overwhelming. So in that realm, and it's super approachable. Families can play it. There are reviews. We check the forums. People are playing it with young kids. People are playing it with families. Holds up to 5 players. So a lot of things to like about Creepy Panda Head.
Is it cheap?
It is cheap. I mean, standard filler style cost. It's like $15 maybe, Dan. Is that right?
Something like that.
Something like that. And it's different enough. I don't know how far away from Fünfgurken you feel like it would be. So if you have that one, you may not need this one. But, I like it because I don't have any trick-taking games that do this kind of thing. The one issue that I will throw out there is that this game is billed as 10 to 15 minutes, and there is no way that this game is 10 to 15 minutes. We played this last night. We played it with the intention of timing. So we timed ourselves for 20 minutes. That's the max time on the box. And we played as many hands as we could in 20 minutes. And we shuffled up and dealt, played at a really good clip. At the 20-minute mark, Steve had just fallen asleep, hit 21 for the first time. Nobody else had hit 21. And the next highest score was 9 points. So Steve was going to go back down to 9 points, and we were going to keep playing until 3 people got eliminated. There is no way this game takes less than an hour, which is why, in terms of filler feature, I say this game is awesome if you don't play by the prescribed rules. Because I really like this game, and I think that people should play it, but I would say come up with a house rule where, like, the first time somebody hits 21, lowest score wins, and then just play another game of it, like reshuffle and deal, start from the beginning, or engineer it some way where once you hit 21 you're out the first time, because the whole like replaying, going back, you could potentially go back to 0 and play a whole nother round back to 21. It just takes way too long, and I don't know how this got through testing and got a 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 minute box time. So that's my issue, is that it's terribly misleading in terms of game length, but the game itself is great. Everyone liked it. It just, we called it quits both times we played. I mean, we just said, this was fun, we enjoyed our time, let's stop. And everyone was cool with it. It is a filler game, so we treated it as a filler game, but that was my big issue.
Yeah, I like it better than Fünfgurken, actually. I find Fünfgurken to be a little bit too simplistic and kind of a snooze, to be honest.
Yeah.
The and plus the player elimination from Gherkin is kind of silly, but the way it compares for anyone who has played Funkirk, as Matt mentioned, like you're trying to not win the last trick, but in Panda Head they have these different cards that have small powers on them. So they've got a +2 card, which adds +2 to any of the numbers you play, and then you draw a new card. So you're getting rid of 2 cards, drawing 1, and then they've got the Panda card, which acts as +1 to whatever the highest played card already is. So it's kind of like a wild in that way. So a couple of small mix-ups. So like in Funkirken, it's just straight numbers. So there was a couple of small, and they're not huge powers, and they make sense, and they don't blow it out of proportion whatsoever. But I thought they added a couple of different layers of tactic on top of your hand, which was pretty cool. But I totally agree. The timing on this is ridiculous, and I think it needs to be house ruled to bring down that number significantly.
Kel went on a tear with this game. She said, I need to know what people are saying. So she went on the forums, and like the first forum or first thread on the BGG forum is like, there's no way this game takes this long. And then she started watching some reviews, and reviewers are not mentioning this game time. So we were really worried that we were doing something wrong. We were like, why doesn't anybody mention the game time? And I had Smee, our rules expert, double check, and he confirmed that we were playing correctly. So I don't know what was going on with this game time, but the game itself is great. I love it. I think it needs some attention.
The art is horrible.
The art is like, this is Tiff's kind of art, as we talked about.
I was going to say, I like it. I think it's fine.
It's super creepy. Like, I don't know.
It's
just,
really
like,
creepy.
There's Panda everywhere sometimes. So, anyway. So definitely want to check out Panda Head from R&R Games. A lot of fun, but don't play it for don't play it for 2 hours.
Don't play it before you go to bed.
Just stop. It's okay to stop a game and just say that was fun. Let's
Panda
only play it for 20 minutes. All right. So our next filler feature that we have to talk about is a game that I also really enjoy, and that is Hocus. Hocus is a poker-style game. And, oops, this is from Hyperbole Games, is that right? And the designers are Grant Rodiak and Joshua, I'm going to butcher her last name.
It's like Burgle or something like that.
Burgle? Burgle? Yeah, we're going to say Burgle. Buergle. I'm sorry, Joshua.
Aww.
But it's, like I said, a poker-style game, and it looks like this. This is what Hocus looks like. This is what Dan got me for Christmas, actually. I was super surprised. I had seen this game on Twitter before. They were posting about, hey, do people want to print this out, play test it, let us know what you think. Wasn't this the game that had the whole thing, like the naming convention? Like, this has been through like 8 iterations of what it would be called.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that right, Dan? I don't remember.
Yes.
But Dan got this for me for Christmas, like I said. I guess he kickstarted it. Didn't expect it at all. Wasn't on my radar in terms of games that I may have gotten. Like, I had given a Christmas list of things I was interested in, but this popped up, and I love it. I'm really excited about it. Essentially what it is Texas Hold'em for wizards kind of thing. So you play, you're dealt a hand of cards, 9 or 10 cards depending on the player, and these cards are numbered from 0 to 13, I believe. Maybe 14. You take a certain number of cards out for the player count. And this hand of cards is going to be everything, can potentially be anything, any part of a poker game. It can be your bets or the pot. It can be the community cards, or it can be your pocket cards. And you are going to be simultaneously building the poker board with your opponents, and trying to create the best hands, and play 2 sets of poker at the same time. So you're trying to create 2 hands of poker, 2 communities, and 2 pots all together. And what's going to happen is the round is going to end, and you're going to create your best poker hand once both of those communities are full of 4 cards each. So you're laying cards down, you're laying cards in your pocket, you're trying to finagle things so that, you know, you've got 3 of a kind, you've got a straight, you've got a flush, things like that. but you have these spell powers, which are individual player powers, and each person gets a different set. You got a couple basic ones and then these special ones. And this type of magic lets you draw extra cards. This type of magic lets you play cards face down. This type of magic lets you, take cards out of the pot and put new cards in. So there's a lot. It's chaotic is a good word, but it's so much fun. It takes the randomness and probability of poker and just like it feels very wizardy because it's all over the place. I'm getting on a little bit of a rant on how excited I am about this game because I think that it's just such a lot of fun. It's such a nice take on a poker style game. I played Pandante, which is like the only other hobby game, poker game that I've really played, and it just never clicked for any of us. It was too convoluted. It was complicated. I didn't enjoy it. Everyone wanted to like it, but it didn't really work. And I played regular Texas Hold'em, and that gets a little bland after a while. So this is a nice hobby-style poker game that feels like hand management card play, but also has this poker element to it. So I really dug it. I don't know if you guys are into that style of game. I know Dan played it, so I'll let you guys chat.
Go ahead, Tiff.
It doesn't sound like my kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hand management card game, not like top of my list for things to pick up. What does Dan think about it? That might color my opinion better.
I thought the game itself was interesting. I thought, in theory, it worked. It worked well. It took me about 2 full hands to kind of grok setting up pots and setting up the community and working with what I was dealt, which was not always good. Similar to real poker, except you can't fold in this, other than just kind of giving up. But
yeah.
I don't see this being for anyone that's not really a gamer. I would not put this in front of my friends, and I love poker. We'll play poker. We play poker a lot, and I would not put this in front of them because at the end of the day, I think we'd rather just play poker. This wizard-style poker is cool. It's novel. I think the game works really well. I think it's a very well-designed game. And I had fun once I kind of, like I said, grokked everything that was going on because it was a lot to go. You had special powers. And now I will say, and I don't know if this is a variant or not, if the special powers could be taken out, it might be more accessible. But I believe those cross that line between a gamer's game and a more casual game. I think those just understanding what everyone else could do, because each person had 3, and in a game of 4 people, you got 12 special powers sitting around the table. You got to keep track of, and it's not like tracking it like, oh, I need to know every time you do something, but just kind of knowing the repercussions of you placing this card face up, face down, whatever. How they could manipulate it, because you can sneak in at the end and like steal a pot using one of these powers. So you have to be cognizant of them. I'm not saying you have to kind of stare at them the whole game, but again, I don't think if this game applies to more casual gamers. I think it just toes that line and goes over it more into a more gamers game. And I would not put this in front of my college friends my poker group. I would not put it in front of them.
No, I think I agree with everything you just said, Dan. Like it's not a replacement for Texas Hold'em. Your friends who watch World Series of Poker are not really gonna buy into this because it is a little too random, a little too chaotic. You can take out the special powers. They say go ahead and do that for your first game just to learn the game. There are also two. It's modular to some extent because you can push and pull different things in different directions. There are some bonus abilities on the cards that you cannot play with to treat it more like regular poker. You can take out those individual powers. You can put certain schools of magic in that are more advanced, that add some new mechanics, which we haven't played yet, but I reviewed them, and I think they'd be interesting. But again, it just kind of gives you more things to look after. And when I sat down with like Kel and Ben and things like that I felt comfortable bringing out those extra pieces because we're gamers and because I didn't think that we were going to have too much fun just playing the stock game, because it's a little more casual, it's a little more bland, but that's appropriate for certain groups.
But at the end of the day, I say that, but I wouldn't. I'd rather just play poker in that case. Like I think the spells and the special abilities are what make it quote wizard poker.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, yeah, it needs a certain type of group because while it is a good game, I just don't see it. And my other thing is, I guess it's the gambler in me, but I want to play for money. I don't want to play for free.
Now, see,
Could you play it for money?
yeah,
It's
I'm
too
with you on
random
that.
though. I don't know. Like I like in regular poker how I can strategically fold. You can't strategically fold in this. You'd have to find a way to tailor the ante and the betting to. Yeah, I don't know. I would like
I
to
think
try
it's
and play it
possible.
for money, just because that's just me.
I was interested in like either turning it into a drinking game or turning it into a money game, making it adult in some way. I think that you might be able to do it because you can you don't have to make pocket cards, you don't have to participate, and nothing forces you to put money in the pot. So I think that there's a possibility there where you can kind of refrain. I think it might hurt the spirit of the game though if one player just kind of checks out and says, "Well, I'm not going to play this hand." But at the same time, because you have 10 cards in your hand, it's kind of crazy. You can manipulate for those big hands. You know, you get flushes and full houses and some of those higher valued hands more frequently than a standard game of poker where sometimes you win on 2 pair, sometimes you win on a good pocket pair.
That's what I love about it because in poker, for me, poker and where this differs again is I feel like in poker you're playing not only the cards but the people. This one, it was just too chaotic. I couldn't even keep track of what everyone was trying to do or what they could do. So, yeah, I love the bluffing aspect of base Texas Hold'em. But this was a good game. I'm not gonna take that away from it. I thought it was fun, and with the right crowd, it works really well.
Yeah. Definitely not a replacement for poker, but a fun gamers game. Don't even maybe don't even treat it like don't tell people this is let's play some Magic Poker. Just say let's play this game, and people will say, oh, this is kind of like poker, and you'll say yeah. So that's Hocus, and that is our second filler feature game. A lot of fun. I like both of these games. Super cheap and affordable. So things to check out: Hocus and Panda Head. Tiff, tell me you got one more bumper for me.
I do.
Because we're going to take a break and come back and do 3 up, 3 down.
Okay, let's do this.
Can we just get that on a continuous loop?
I could loop it if need be.
Those are my kind of fat beats, yo.
Welcome to our next segment, Dan's Dance Party.
I'll dance party the shit out of that. You put some more
only available to the YouTube subscribers. No, this is 3 up, 3 down, a segment where we talk about what is up in our gaming lives and what is not doing so hot for us in our gaming lives. A great segment. I really like this. We should do this more often.
This is my first one.
Oh, this is Tiff's first one because Dan and I did this, just me and him, last time. So we are going to go around. You guys want to do positives, negatives, balance them out? How do you want to do it?
Let's start with the bad.
Let's start with the bad. All right. So let's start with Tiff because she hasn't been able to participate at all this episode.
I've been participating.
Because she doesn't play games.
I've been fully engaged in your Magic Poker explanation. It's fascinating.
Tiff.
Give me
some of your downs or a down, whatever you want to do. Just give me a down.
Playing games are definitely down.
I'm sad about that.
But I already talked about that. It's just been a busy month, and I have games today and PaneraCon next weekend, so games will be up next time we do this. But I wanted to just mention Fuse is way, 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 way down.
Oh, please tell me.
Yes,
so when I first played this game, I was like, oh, this is clever because it's real time and it's cooperative and it actually kind of feels like you're diffusing things and there's stress and it's fun. But after you've played it, I'd say 3 times you're done. You're done.
3.
It's 3. Yeah. After I personally played it 3 times.
That is 30 total minutes of gameplay.
I know. It's just, I mean, it's a little samey. You're doing the same things, and my kids in my board game club are still playing it, so I guess that's why it's more down, because I've been sort of forced to play it past my need to play it, which, I mean, it happens a lot, because the kids have a way longer attention span for games than I do, weirdly. But it's just, I don't know. And they've gotten really good at it. So they're like, they beat it every time. So it's like, what's the point? When you're playing a cooperative game that, you're playing against the game, you want to be able to, like, it to be a challenge. And it becomes not a challenge after you've done it. And you've sort of worked out your system for, taking dice. I think that's probably the most interesting part about the game, is I've talked about it before, but you roll a pool of dice, and everybody has to be able to take one from there. So once you figure out how to communicate what you're taking, what you need in an effective, efficient way, there's really not much more challenge once you've got that going. So unless you're playing with new players, the replayability is not as good.
There's no way to bump the difficulty?
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Is there a way to, I guess I should say, is there a way to transform the difficulty?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that determines the difficulty is how many bombs you have to defuse in the time period. So you could just keep going, but they've gotten, I forget what the highest level of, my kids who play this have gotten so good at it that the highest level in the rule book that's like insane level, they can beat that easily every time. So they have to make up the crazy insane level, and it's kind of like, if you've beat it past where the rule book says it should be impossible, it kind of feels like, well, all right, we're done with it. I closed the book on it. The kids keep playing it, so I guess that means it's a good game for kids.
But you want nothing to do with it.
I don't ever want to play it ever again. I mean, I bought it for my personal collection.
Yeah. But
I've donated it to the club now, and I haven't played it with any of my adult friends because I don't think any of them would like it. Like, real time is hard. Like, not a lot of people are into it, and my group doesn't like a stressful games.
I think there's better real-time games.
Maybe. Name one. What should I be playing in real time?
Escape.
Nothing.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I have Escape.
You should be playing Escape.
That's
or you
the
should
only
be
one I've ever liked.
Or you should be playing, what's that? Tessin. You should be playing lots of Tessin.
Oh, I love Tessin. Okay, I feel better now. So, should I do all my downs, or I mean, how does this work? My first time.
Well,
why don't we rotate?
Okay.
Yeah,
I already did two of my downs. Sorry.
Give me a down. Make me feel bad. Bring me down.
No, so
Shouldn't
for
be too
me,
hard.
a down, because you guys think I'm always down, but I'm not. I'm an upper.
Dan actually is. He's
Look
playing
at that
6 down,
smile.
0 up.
Yep. This is 6 down, 0 up. No. So first thing on my down list is micro games, and I might have touched on this before, but man, are they not that satisfying anymore to me. And it's not to say they're badly designed or they're bad games. It's just I don't know at this point, and well, I had it in my ups, but I took it out. But at this point, I'm really into the medium to heavier weight games and like the satisfying choices and the chunkiness of the pieces and everything like that. And you lose all that with micro games. They're usually just like 5 or 6 cards and like a token. And it's like all the tactile elements of board games that I love like go out the window. And while there are some really good games that have some really great choices and interactivity between the players, like it's grinded on me lately. I'm not to say there's some good ones that I still have in my collection and I like, but
have you played a micro game lately?
Yes,
we've played a few. Okay. I have played a few.
I haven't. That's why I wondered.
Well, I've played a lot of lighter games as of late, which is, just depending on group and who's around and, things we've gotten. But I don't know. They're just, It
was a fad. It was a board gaming fad.
It was, definitely. But I will say that... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No,
People got all beezed up about Love Letter. And Love Letter I still play.
Love Letter's genius. Love Letter's genius. That's probably my favorite. I'd also say Coinage. Coinage for me is one of those like, damn, that's cool. Kind of the way it's like the coins and the little tiny map, and I really like that game a lot.
Okay, I'll give you that one too. But otherwise, I can't think of a micro game that I didn't play once and be like, eh.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. So let me take a poll. So Yay or nay, who here has bought a micro game? Yay.
Ever?
All of us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Who here has ever, not for a game night, not with a bag of games in tow, ever put a micro game in their wallet or pocket and walked around with it?
I have.
I have.
Yeah.
Vacation.
Really?
Vacation.
No,
I
I never take them. They're always in a bag
I have-
full of all my other games.
I have Brave Rats and Love Letters sleeved in the same sleeves, and I carry that in my book bag.
Yeah, I have a copy of Batman Love Letter that I carry around all the time.
You guys are weird. But I guess you're the reason micro games exist.
Oh
Well,
no.
I like those. But even like we reviewed the Paco games, I find
Yeah.
them to be, again, I'll use the word genius, because I think what Chris Handy did is pretty damn innovative and awesome. They're great. They have a variety in mechanics, a variety in player counts and play lengths. I think they definitely serve a niche market. Would I throw a pack of game on the table at game night? Probably not. Would I stick it in my book bag on vacation? Probably. So like they serve a specific time frame, and it's vacation for me, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I just look like a game like Hocus we just talked about, like it's only this big. I can fit that in my backpack. I don't need a game that's the size of gum. And I agree with you that they are good games and I like them, but when I face the reality, like I can make things super compact. I can make bigger games more compact.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that I'm more inclined to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm
Like
just
you
saying,
should have seen me for Origins. I fit like 18 games into the Tosh Kalar box. I was like, here we go.
it's
big
just
games.
yeah.
But anyway,
It's just not a fad that I'm on board with anymore. So
I'm with you. I'm with you. So one of my downs is playing games once.
I hate you. Your downs are ups, you jerk. That's an up, playing games once.
What do you mean?
You're that means you're playing games more than one time.
Yeah, okay, so
right?
wait.
So
wait,
it's
let me-
actually an up.
Let me
right?
word this correctly then. One of my downs should be playing games multiple times. I am currently
Oh.
down on playing games once. I am not happy with it.
Oh,
I
okay.
should
That
say.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, oh, I'm not playing games once anymore. That's
No,
terrible.
not frequency.
Okay, I got it.
I've been going through my New Year's resolution to try to play all my unplayed games. I'm having fun doing it. Great time. I'm playing all kinds of new games. I own these games, so I should be playing them. But what I'm finding is that as I try to push through my New Year's resolution, I'm only playing these games once and I'm moving on to a new thing. And I am not enjoying that aspect of it. Because I'm playing cool new games, and then I'm like, but look at that stack. It's right behind me. I'm like, I gotta read these rule books. I gotta learn new games, and then I gotta teach Kel and Ben and Dan and all these people. I gotta keep trying to teach new games, and I like teaching games, but I don't have time. I'd rather spend my time playing a game I know how to play than reading a new rule book. Like I keep pulling out Rune Wars, and I don't want to go through this 37-page rule book. Oh my god, I just want to play games that I know and play games more than once and get good at them or get better at them. And I've been feeling it's not call to the new because these are all old games, but I'm feeling like stressed out about having to keep doing new games all the time. I don't get how
This is making me really sad for you.
How do you guys do this? How do you just play a game once and then move on to the next game and not go back to that game?
I replay games sometimes.
I know, and I'm not saying that you guys never replay games, but I'm just saying. And
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I don't always teach the new games that I'm doing. So
Yeah.
like I could see if every time I had to play a new game I had to teach it, that would be sad. That would be hard. But
I guess that's
it's
part of
not
the
always me.
Yeah, is that all these games here, I know that when I look at this stack, I'm the one that's got to read them and teach them. And there's a whole bunch of them.
Got it.
But I guess I'm complaining about nothing.
It's
So,
understandable.
Tiff, your third and final down, because you've already done two.
Yeah, trade successes are down.
Yeah.
I've been trying really hard to get Oregon, and Dan got it this week in trade, which really was upsetting.
He scooped you?
Well, he got it for nothing personal, and I traded that a long time ago for 5 tribes, so it's fine. I stand behind that trade.
Yeah, I also had it on my want and trade list when Tiff talked about it last episode, and it's just one that has never, and it was just kind of one of those serendipitous moments that, like, literally after we recorded, like on that Tuesday or whatever, someone messaged me and said, "We trade nothing personal for it," and I said, "I sure will."
Glad I
And
could help you out
you
with
can
that.
have it. And to be fair, I asked Tiff if she had nothing personal still, because I would have let her do the swap, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a nice person. Deep down, this soul is good.
Mm-hmm.
But she said she had already traded it, so I just sent it. So
It's fine. It's fine because I've just broke down and bought it this morning.
okay.
I'm
What
just
if it's
tired.
not- You should have let me play it first.
I thought about that, but I'm just tired of searching for it, and I want it. And while we line up on a lot of games, I don't necessarily 100% trust that if you don't like it, I'm not going to like it. So, I don't know. It's fine. It wasn't very expensive, and I haven't bought games. I've bought, like, 2 filler games since January 1, so I felt fine spending a little bit of money on a
Tiff
game.
can't move on to her next favorite theme until she completes the Frontier theme.
Yeah, I've got to do it.
So she's got to finish her collection first.
That's the facts.
Yep. Wait, so that was you, Tiff. Dan, give me another down.
All this down. Mine's the opposite of Tiff's. Buying games is down, which is good.
I just said my buying games is down.
Yeah, she said she
why I
bought 2
felt
filler
it.
But then
games.
you just bought one this morning.
I bought 1 game. It's still down.
I'm kidding. Yeah, mine is down as well. In terms of me, in the context of my previous buying habits, I am way, way, way down. I think I've only bought 6 games this year in 3 months, which is pretty good. That's 2 a month, and they're varying sizes, and 2 of them were at a flea market, as I think I mentioned last episode. But yeah, it's overall down, which is good, and that ties into kind of what Matt said. While I'm all for playing games once, I'm the kind of guy right now that likes to get in a variety, and I think that links to one of my ups, which I'll talk into in a minute. I just like to see what's out there, and the ones that are good, they're staying in my collection. The ones that are bad are getting out immediately. So that's kind of where I'm at. But overall, buying them is pretty sweet. I'm actually trying to sell more and then use the ones that I sell to fund buying new ones and or my conventions. So I'm doing pretty well.
Very sensible. We have no time for that here. Sensibility.
It's not. I mean, well, yeah. It's really going to buy my mountain bike, my new mountain bike, but that's okay.
So next month, playing games will be down because Dan will be mountain biking.
Yeah, I've made a
That's
mint
so cool.
selling 3 out-of-print games this past 2 weeks, so
I'm buying a bike too, but it's not a mountain bike.
there's no
Buying an
bike
old lady
numbers.
cruiser bike.
Wow. Wait, will it have a basket?
Yes, I'm getting a basket.
Banana seat?
No, I couldn't find one with a banana seat. Plus, I don't think a banana seat would be very comfortable, but I am buying a bike so I can bike out with all my photography gear this summer. Take pretty
cool.
pictures. Yeah,
Great, you can go by the senior center and take pictures there.
sure. Why not? Those are my people.
Yeah. All right, my next down is board game media consumption. I am not doing so well. One reason is that I have an overload of podcasts right now. And the morning stream being a daily show and my commute being shorter is really messing with my ability to listen to shows.
You can take a week off
Of what?
of the morning stream, or take a day off
But
and
then
just
I'm
listen to.
behind.
Okay.
Like, I'll just get further and further behind and none of their jokes will be relevant. They're a daily show, Tiff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I listen too, but you'll be okay. I promise. I've missed shows. It's okay.
Yeah, I've gotten into basically, I'm trying to be more choosy with my media. I'm reading the episode descriptions. I used to just listen to whatever. Now I got to pick and choose. So I'm like going through Radiolab, post something new. I got to read if I'm actually interested in that topic. Stuff we should know, post 3 episodes a week. I got to read to see if I'm actually interested in.
So
I'm trying
this
to
is
keep.
practically an up because you're just listening to higher quality media.
I mean, no. I mean, I think that all of the media that I listen to is quality. I'm just trying to tailor it to things that I'm like most interested in. But I'd love to listen to all of this stuff. Like, I had to delete a couple of episodes of the Dice Tower because I wasn't interested in some of the things. And I just finished an episode of Low Player Count from like 2 weeks ago because I listened to half of it and then got sidetracked. And then I went back and listened to the end of their top 5 two-player games. Like, I'm all over the place with my media, and I want it to be more consistent, but I don't know, it's just been super weird.
Oh.
Which is, it's a bummer, because what did you say, Tiff, or Dan?
I said I'm going to be the exact opposite because my new job has a longer commute, so I'm going to need stuff to fill it in. Just a quick shout out to Anthony over at the Cardboard Jungle. They just did their podcast where they talk about some of their favorite podcasts, and he mentioned us as one of his favorites, so I just thought that was really cool. And so thanks, Anthony. We appreciate that. I listened to you guys too.
Episode on my way home last night or yesterday, but I couldn't get to work. But
they go over a ton of other shows, and I actually took note of a few that I wasn't listening to or were dormant. So I'm looking to refresh my list slightly because my commute's going to be almost double, which is okay. I don't mind.
I start listening to podcasts at like 6:30 in the morning when I take my shower, and then I have like a 10-minute commute, which is a bummer. But I try to keep listening.
Why do you listen to podcasts in the shower? That's crazy.
I do too.
What do you mean? Weird. I don't want people's voices in my ear while I'm trying to like scrub myself.
Oh yeah, Tom Vassel's in the shower with me.
Oh God,
there.
Oh, get out of there, Tom Vassell.
Craig's there from Botch Games. Dan, sometimes you're there. It's okay.
This is getting weird. Let's move on.
Tiff, you're out of downs. Dan's got another down, and I've got another down. Let's burn through them.
All right, I'm just going to burn through it. I've talked about it 45,000 times, but Kickstarter. I'd like to thank...
Just assume this is a
staple. That's his permanent down.
It is permanent down because literally, like, last 2 months, there was like 700 projects on Kickstarter, and they all had something interesting about them that I was like, oh, cool, I'd like to do that. But, man, I really wish they'd all get together and, like, space them out more. I know they can't. They don't talk to each other, and they're all competitors, but...
That wouldn't make good business sense.
I had to be really picky.
Months. Oh.
Yeah, I know they got to get them out for the end of the year and after the Chinese New Year. I know the business part of it, but it's just really annoying. But I will say that it's gonna tail off for me now because now we're getting into the games that are gonna start having 2017 dates on them, and I pretty much just say, nah.
Yeah.
I'll wait till 2017. Sorry, guys. Because again, it's like Kickstarter again. I guess. Let me be more specific. How about Kickstarter exclusives are getting on my nerves because they're not exclusive anymore, and it's almost like false advertising. I mean, coming from someone who works in investments where fair, clear, and not misleading is like the mantra, like Kickstarter projects are just bothering me because they say they're Kickstarter exclusive, and then somewhere like in an update or in like the bottom and like size 4 font, they'll say, but in 6 months we'll sell this to you at a con or on BGG store, and I'm like, well, then don't put exclusive. Put Kickstarter now, or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not exclusive. Like that word needs to go away. So there we go. That's my down. The word Kickstarter exclusive. The phrase Kickstarter exclusive.
Should be Kickstarter early release.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Get it before everyone else, kind of thing. Not exclusive. That gets on my nerves. Some companies have done a good job about it, but like Cool Mini or Not seems to have done pretty well. But I think they're all going to cave because even Cool Mini sells them at cons. So
yeah, it's just the price at that point.
Yep.
But anyway, all right, my last down is going to fold into one of my ups, so we'll keep this rolling. Guys, I've done a bad thing. One of my New Year's resolutions is down.
Which one?
You bought a game.
I bought a game.
Captain Impulsive went and bought like 17 games.
Who, me?
Yeah, you bought like the whole Netrunner first set.
No, that's not 17 games. It's one game.
It's one game plus like 7 expansions.
That's a huge time commitment too.
All right. So let's talk about it. One of my resolutions.
I was going to call you out on it if you didn't say it. So
I was not going to buy a game until I played my unplayed stack, and then Craig from Botch Games went and ruined me and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy into Netrunner." I said, "Damn, I could play Netrunner with Craig." So I bought 2 core sets, and I bought the first cycle of PAX. I'm back in it. I'm back in it. I have
Tiff,
played.
how long you want to take bets now on how long he stays in it? I bet he's trading this by the
We
end of
just
the
start
year.
a pool. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm back in
Aw.
it.
End of the year, it's traded.
Well, and I'm okay with that though. So the reason why I traded is because I wasn't playing it. I now have an opponent to play. I've played it 6 times in the last week. We've had 3 different Skype sessions. I played with Steve and Craig, and I only bought the first cycle. So it was like $100. So I spent $100. I got Netrunner, and I'm playing it. So if I trade it in a year, I'm okay with that. Or 9 months, whatever it is. But I just feel bad because I broke my resolution. So
your resolution is toast. Tiff and I are still on track.
That's right.
Well, that's because yours didn't have like terminal or measurable outcomes, but
Very measurable.
Yeah, smart, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So I ruined it. I'm sad. I'm pretty depressed about it. You guys aren't going to leave me alone about it.
You
Wasn't he
seem real
criticizing
depressed.
Wasn't he criticizing us last time that we didn't make small measurable goals that became accomplished?
Criticized buddy, did I?
A little bit, maybe
No,
a
but
little
you
bit.
kind of bragged about your ability to make small comprehensible. Or not comprehensible. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean I stand by my goals. I made good goals. I just didn't follow it.
Tiff,
All
virtual
right.
high five.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my ups is Netrunner. Like I said, played it 6 times, loving it. I fell right back into place. Game's
So
amazing.
really, your down is an up again. Pick a
Well,
real
I mean,
down.
my down is that you guys aren't going to leave me alone about my New Year's resolution anymore.
But that's
My
an
up
up
is that
too, because look how happy we are. You
playing-
brought joy into my life.
The only
Yeah.
good thing is that we won't have to do that New Year's resolution checkup segment anymore because Matt won't want to relive that he's failed for the
Yeah.
next 9 months.
So yeah, but Netrunner's up. I mean, it's my favorite game of all time, and for a reason. I absolutely love it.
My face
Tiff.
hurts from smiling so hard. Ow.
Yeah, wow.
That's what
Mass
happens
failure.
when you accomplish and succeed in life, Tiff.
When
Just
I
with
watch others
smiles.
fail, really.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Do you want me to talk about an up now? I'll talk about an up. We can stop chastising Matt for a minute.
Oh, it won't stop. Go ahead.
So, one of my ups is Carcassonne. I've been playing a ton of Carcassonne and really enjoying it. Super, via app, not actual board game. But I do have the travel version of that at work that I sometimes play with the band director I work with when we aren't, furiously doing things throughout our lunch. So I'm thinking about getting that back out because I've been playing a lot of Carcassonne on the app and I really like it again. I'm, into it. I'm let's get out all my expansions and do this.
You can play that 1,000-tile Carcassonne that Dan and I did at Gen Con one year. Or
That
Origins
sounds
or whatever.
crazy. I might even get out the catapult. Let's just do it.
Might as well.
You should
Yeah.
definitely get out the catapult.
This is one of those just classic games. I can't get enough of it.
I mean,
Burn that
I'm
city
thinking
down.
about buying the Gold Rush version.
Yeah.
Isn't that perfect? It ties into another one of my ups.
Oh no, we'll get there, Tiff. We'll get there. Dan, what is one of your ups?
One of my ups, and I've kind of talked about this the last few episodes, are the Haba family games.
Hadn't
Like that.
noticed.
So Karuba, Adventureland, and Spookies. These games are amazing. I haven't played my Spookies yet, but that sounded kind of. I haven't played my Spookies yet.
So fun.
Guys, I haven't touched my Spookies. I haven't touched my Spookies. There you go. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. Don't touch my Spookies. But Adventureland and Karuba are excellent. They're just one of those casual games. You just sit down, you play. You still use your brain slightly, but at the same time, you can teach them in less than 3 minutes. Bring new people in, they'd played their whole life, kind of thing. They're really good games. I'm very impressed with this kind of next step up that they've done. So
Yeah, I think
hope
that
they have more.
they expanded their market in a really good way. I mean, I think that these are great games, undoubtedly. Tiff, you need to actually play them.
I have Karuba. I don't get sweet review copies of these things. So.
Wow. Oh, Dan, how was the second scenario of Adventureland?
It was good. It was
Yeah.
different. It was It was tight though. I think we finished within like 5 points of each other. So
Yeah.
similar to our first experience. So I'm looking forward
Cool.
to trying the first and final, if that
Yeah.
sounds weird.
The first and final. All right, one of my ups, it has to do with me trying to play board games and no one being around. I am,
Feel ya.
Life.
yeah, it's tough. So, Tiff, the reason why I bring this up is because I'd like to know what everyone else's hobbies are in terms of what do you do when you can't play games? Because I found out that solo board gaming for me is I'm not really good at it. I just can't get the motivation to
I'd rather
break
play
out
a
these
video
games.
game.
See, I like solo board gaming. The only thing that makes that difficult is a lot of the games that are fun to solo also have a lot of components to
Yeah,
unpack.
yeah.
So, like your Eldritch Horrors and your Defenders of the Realm, love those games, but I'm lazy too.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've got some of the smaller, like I've got the Oniverse and I got Friday, and I played them, but I found that my actual up is that I've just been playing more video games, and I love video games. They've always been a passion. I've played them all my life, but I've been looking for video games that give me a board game kind of feel, if that makes sense, or give me like a narrative storytelling kind of feel, give me something that I can go on. I haven't been reaching for as much like social interaction through video gaming, which is what I normally do because I like that in board gaming, but I'm trying to find games that kind of emulate. So games like Armello, which we talked about before, and I got a new game that's kind of like, what is that? Space Alert. It's a game a video game where you actually roll dice and things like that, and you're trying to have your spaceship survive on this journey to Mars. And I've also been playing Rocket League, which has nothing to do with board gaming, but I've just been finding that in these spaces between like playing Netrunner Online and playing board games and reading rule books, I've been supplementing with video games a lot more than I used to. Where before I was like, I don't know, trying to go find a game anywhere I could and trying to play solo games. So
out on the
that's
streets.
yeah, out in the streets with a copy of Abyss, just like anybody want to play with me. But I've been enjoying
It's
video
pretty,
gaming.
but it's kind of mediocre.
Why does Matt sound like that?
Because he's sad because no one wants to play Abyss with him.
Yeah,
The sadder he is, the higher pitched his voice gets.
yeah.
Don't you guys see these sweet sea monsters?
I
And
have
again,
the
get out.
cricket.
Kel and I, get out of here, guys. Kel and I have been playing The Witness, which is an awesome puzzle game together. So that's been supplementing board games too. So instead of playing two-player games, we've been playing this puzzle-y game together, kind of cooperatively. So that's cool.
Dude, you want to? So Tiff and I have been playing this game. It's called Our New Year's Resolution, and we're both winning.
Winning.
What? Matt lost. Matt
Oh,
lost.
Yep.
it's gotta be tough.
Failed. Oh my God! How do you sleep at night?
Not very well. It's amazing how much this is eating me up. You should ask Kel. Ask Kel how I felt when that package came. It was
Yeah,
not good.
you could have just waited like another month and a half. We could have knocked out your games, and you've been all.
Oh
good.
no, these games aren't getting played. I mean, like they're gonna get played, but it's gonna be a while.
That's okay.
37-page Rune Wars rulebook.
That's okay.
Tiff.
What?
No, wait. No, Tiff. What's one of your ups?
Wild West themes.
Oh, okay,
Obviously.
we already knew about that.
I know, but like not just Wild West themes in board games, but Wild West themes in everything.
Have you been watching Wild Wild West?
No,
That's a great Will Smith song.
it's so like
It's a
what is
movie, Dan.
it's such a bad movie.
It's also
I
the
I
theme
watched it with my husband's grandma at Thanksgiving or Christmas
man.
a year ago, and I was like, "Wow, how'd this get made? It's so bad,
Solid.
so bad." But no, I've been reading Deadwood by Peter Dexter, I think. So
Yeah.
I've been reading Wild West stuff. I've been watching Hell on Wheels, so that's kind of pioneery Wild West, and yeah, I've been collecting some Wild West themed board games. My Gold West came in.
Oregon.
Well, Oregon's going to be here soon now. I took it into my own hands. I needed it too badly to wait for trade. So, yeah.
All right, Dan, tell us what's up with game designing.
It's fun. It's the most frustrating thing ever, but it's been fun. Like I find myself like constantly just all day, every day writing down notes of things that pop into my random head. Tiff knows this all too well. because a lot of times, not recently, but in the past, I would just send her, "Hey, I just thought of this idea," and she'd be like, "That's cool, Dan. Way to go." Um, but yeah,
That's exactly what I would say.
I'm like anxiously getting ready for Unpub because this would be like the first time I like show people outside of the family like my ideas, and I know I'm not like a dummy or anything, but there's definitely a certain skill set to getting these things prototyped and iterated, and it's tough too, especially because I can understand why people do this with partners and or groups, because when I sit down to like play test something by myself at night, it's the most boring experience ever. I can't do it as well as some other people can do it, I guess is the thing I'm saying. But I'm really having fun, like just jotting down and thinking of things in terms of the mechanics, with some theme, I guess, maybe. There's theme in the titles. But no, like it's been fun. So I'm really enjoying it, and I have a ton of ideas. I've decided I've set myself one goal of finishing one game for Unpub, not finishing, but getting one game presentable for Unpub, and then I've got like 2 or 3 other ones I really want to dig into. So, but I'm waiting until after Unpub to get into.
It's a very measurable goal.
Yeah, because I've got the Space Cantina game. I really have made some strides on the thought process there, but I need to prototype it out and see how it works.
Oh, our Space Cantina game?
Yeah. Yeah. But
well, so
it's pretty complex. So I didn't have enough time to figure it out in the 3 weeks until Unpub. So
yeah. So everyone come out to Unpub 6 in Baltimore and play Dan's game.
Yeah, you guys can come just shit on it. That's cool.
Well,
I won't be offended.
That would ruin the prototype component, so don't do that.
It's okay.
Anyway, my last up is that I have been playing a bunch of old games, and not some old classic games, but I've been trying to...
How old are these old games? Like 2005?
Yeah, well...
Okay.
The older games. 2005 was 11 years ago. That's a while ago. Yeah, okay. Tiff just realized how old she is.
Oh, I know how old I am.
I've been trying to play games that aren't like brand new off the shelf. I played Puerto Rico for the first time last night. Never played that. I got Battle Line, Samurai. Looking into some of these like classic abstract games. I've just been trying to play. Not trying to play. I've just been enjoying the wealth of back catalog games while we're kind of in this in-between stage where Kickstarter's big but no one's delivering and there aren't huge titles coming out because Origins is approaching and Gen Con later. So there aren't that many AAA like big titles that have hit this year so far. So it's a good time to trade. I've been trading for old games. People are getting rid of them when these reprints come. So I've just been enjoying I've heard of this game. I know this game, but I've never played it. And something like Puerto Rico was not remotely what I was expecting. So that was interesting. So yeah, I've just been enjoying playing older games and kind of seeing where game design has come from. I'm not thinking that deeply about it, but just enjoying kind of checking out the gaming roots. So, Tiff, I am so interested in your last up. So interested.
So I put RPGs. I'm not actually playing RPGs, but I think I'm way closer to actually try to dip my toe into this. This past, week or two, I've fallen into a podcast rabbit hole. Yeah. I discovered a podcaster called Travis McElroy, and I think he actually lives in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, damn.
Poor
fellow
guy.
Ohio podcaster. Him and his brothers do a whole bunch of podcasts. One of them, probably the most popular one, is My Brother and Me, where they give terrible advice to people.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
But they have another one where they play Dungeons and Dragons with their dad called The Adventure Zone. And I started from the beginning of this, and they're just playing 4th edition D&D for the first time. And I'm listening to it, and I'm liking everything that I hear. And I'm like, I think I could do this. For real, I could do it. Not just, I want to be able to do this possibly at some point in the future. I actually might do it.
Tiff, can we play 4th edition D&D together? Can we?
Via Skype?
Yeah.
Is that a thing that people
That's a
do?
thing.
Does it
People
get
do
weird?
that.
I don't know. I would try it. I would
I want
try
to play
it.
an RPG so bad. So bad.
And it's making me want to. There was a Sherlock Holmes themed RPG that I saw at
Oh, yeah?
Origins that I was super into, and I kind of like want to just maybe get that and see if I can make it happen with my people here. So I don't know.
Do it.
I've just really been inspired by the Adventure Zone podcast, and now I think I'm ready to at least try something.
Man, you are growing up. Come a long way since episode 1.
God, I would
Thanks.
love to watch that.
wanna
It's
play
not
it.
going to be a comfortable thing, but I think I could try it.
Yeah. All right, Dan, round us out. Give us your last up. Your new favorite designer.
My last up is Alexander Pfister. What up, Alexander?
Are you guys on a first name basis together?
No, we're just BFFs, basically.
That's cool. That's cool.
Actually, he unfollowed us on Twitter, and I was actually really bummed about that. But I don't know if it was a legit unfollow because Twitter's been weird lately. Like, I've just started like unfollowing
That's
people that I
what you're
never
telling yourself.
unfollow.
isn't
No,
it?
my account has unfollowed people that I've never unfollowed, which is weird. I don't get it. Twitter's a strange beast. But maybe I don't know, whatever. Anyways,
So we're sorry.
yeah, I'm
What
sorry
did
whatever
you
I did.
say?
I don't know what I did, but I love this man's games. He had so many good games last year. He had Oh My Goods, he had Broom Service, he had Mombasa, and he had Isle of Skye, my #2 game of the year. Like, dude's on a tear. And he's
Maybe
coming out with
he's
a
creeped
Wild
out.
West game for Tiff this year. About like lassoing cattle or something. I don't know, whatever it is, but it's going to be amazing regardless. The dude's just, I don't know. I don't know if he designed these games all like 5 years ago and he's just getting them all printed now, or if he's just been on this tear recently, or either way, love everything I've played of his. Absolutely love it. So
Yeah.
keep up the
Those
good
are all
work.
good games.
Yeah, they are awesome.
Wow.
Oh, wait, guys. I have to correct what I said. I said 4th edition. I meant 5th edition. Calm down, Internet. I don't want your emails.
I don't
That's
think
even
we
better.
get
That's
it.
more narrative. That's less gamey.
Yeah,
God,
that's
now
what I
I
meant.
really want to watch this.
I'm so sorry.
I want to play.
Seeing
man.
Tiff create narrative. Ad
I'm a
hoc
creative person.
I
Look
didn't
at
say
this
you weren't
room.
creative. I just want to see it. I wanna
Tiff,
see
you
it.
open the door, and standing before you is a young woman crying.
I
There's
punch
an
her in the
orc
face.
standing over her.
What kind of
Yeah.
role do I have to do?
Roll
Tiff.
2d10.
Pretend you're on a podcast where 2 of the 3 hosts have completed their
I
New
think I
Year's
have a D10 in
resolutions.
here somewhere.
Sad
Oh.
face.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a lot of dice.
I got the dice for it, so I'm all set.
We just need people. Maybe Tiff will just play by herself.
Can you solo? I don't know. That might be a little weird.
But all right, so we made it through. That is 3 up, 3 down. Thank you all for joining us. That is the end of episode 41, our live show for March. We appreciate you tuning in or listening audio-wise. If you want to chat with us or reach out to us, you can do so on Facebook at the League of Nonsensical Gamers. You can choose an email at podcast@nonsensicalgamers.com. You can head on over to the BGG Guild number 2077 or go to guild.nonsensicalgamers.com. Join the conversation, ask for a tiny Meeple Shield micro badge. We'd be happy to give you some Geek Gold to represent that. Find us here on YouTube. Tiff will be posting a new episode of Blender videos, Board of Education maybe. You can find the live episodes, things like that. Head over to Instagram, use our hashtag #NonsensicalGamers. That's a good one if you want to find pics of board games. And iTunes reviews and hearts on BoardGameLinks are also appreciated. We like the feedback on the show. Let us know how we're doing or how we can improve. If you ever want to chat with us personally, Twitter is the best place to do that. Tiff, if people want to mine gold, pan for gold with you, where do they do that?
You can tweet at me at ineptgamer.
Yeah. Dan, if people want to avoid you from stalking their game design, what handle do they need to look out for?
At League Nonsense, or if you want to talk about my spookies, come on over to Scandals_Ned.
And if you want to tease me incessantly like Dan and Tiff or commiserate with me about how I'm a failure, as a host and a New Year's resolutionist. You can find me at Cinnamon Buns, spelled phonetically.
_ fail.
Aw. What a great way to end the show. Sad again.
Well, as is such here. Thank you all for joining us. Tune in next week.
#
For
better
some
luck
news.
next time.
And some Kickstarter spotlight. Thank you all
Yep.
for joining us. Say goodbye, everyone.
Toodles.
Bye.
I'm sorry. Bye.
All right.
I'm stopping the broadcast.